if we can get the, all right, perfect. We'll start recording now and begin with the presentation. So can we move on to the next slide, please? All right, so we have a lot of information, like I mentioned today. So we do want to make sure that, there's no distractions and everybody is able to hear the information. Don't worry, we will have a Q&A at the end. So you will have that opportunity to ask questions. So for now, you can write them down, make a note of it. That way you don't forget. And at the end, we will have time to do that. We just want to make sure that all the information is communicated. So we're wanting to allow time for that. Oh, I think we switched tabs, Randy. Oh, yeah. So we just want to ensure that we have all that information communicated, like I said. So we will have that information throughout, and then the Q&A will be at the end. So moving on to the next slide, please. So you already met the team, but we just want to again just repeat that we are here for you. Here is our email, of course, but the Welcome Center is where we are housed. So we just want to let you know, if you're on campus, that is where you can stop by, ask us questions if it is that you need support. We will have different activities throughout the semester for you. So we do want to remind you we are at the Welcome Center, so that you, if ever you're on campus, like I said, stop by, say hi, or if it is that you have any questions, you can do so. So the steps that you have completed thus far, so you're here because you've completed the steps in order to be here to actually learn about the Promise program. So you've completed applying to the application for college. Oh, Randy, you switched tabs again. You have completed the college application. You have completed the Promise application as well, financial aid. You've completed those steps, and now you're on the orientation. So you'll also have that opportunity, again, like I mentioned at the end, to have the attendance form filled out so that you receive credit for that. But you're here because you've completed a lot, and we're happy that you're here so that you can become connected a little bit more to our community. Next slide, please. All right, so today's agenda. So we've already introduced ourselves. We've talked about, who we are. We will be talking about enrollment steps. We'll talk about campus resources. We'll also talk about financial aid, the Promise program itself, any benefits and requirements, procedures, and information that we have to provide. We will be providing frequently asked questions information online. That way, if you do have any questions, you can refer back to that document as well. We'll cover some upcoming events that are going to be beneficial. Randy actually added the fall kickoff event, Jets Jumpstart, as well, but we'll be talking a little bit more about that later. All right, and so to begin, we do have a poll. How are you feeling about starting classes for the fall 2022 semester? So I'll go ahead and launch the poll. It'll pop up, and all you have to do is just respond, and then I'm going to actually hand it on over to our peer mentor, Michaela.
For me, I will be starting classes at SDSU, but regardless, I'm definitely nervous and excited to start classes. I see that majority is nervous, same. Second, excited. There are some people who are ready. It can definitely be nervous starting classes, but once you get into it, you understand that it's actually pretty easy. Everyone's super kind, everyone's super nice, and all the professors are always there to help you and assist you.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Michaela, because at our Jets Jumpstart event that's happening next Wednesday, you're going to get to meet your professors that are going to be here in person. and get to know them, talk about their classes as well as, career options within those fields.
Oh, and I also wanted to add about Jets Jumpstart, if it is that, you're feeling like nervous, or if it is that you're ready, both sides of that feeling, we want to welcome you because, we're able to provide that connection to students, to professors. You also will get, free lunch, you'll get free swag bag. And if you haven't been on campus, or, you're not familiar with our campus, we will also be providing campus tours. So maybe Michaela might be your tour guide that day. So just be on the lookout. All right.
Perfect. And I include the RSVP link in the chat as well for all of you to check out. But we'll talk about the event more at the end of the presentation.
So now I'll be talking about the Promise Connections. So in the Promise program, students should be, for your academic success, students should connect with the staff and your faculty members. So always connect with your professors. They can also help you with connections, whether getting internships, job opportunities, helping you write your resume. Also, second thing is to utilize at least one campus resource. This could be using the library, joining a study session, tutoring. We do have free tutoring on campus, and there is also an independent studying area next to the ASC. Third thing is to engage in at least one campus program activity each semester. This could be either going to, like I said, a study session, going to our events. We do have club events on campus. Fourth thing is to increase your likelihood of academic success and overall well-being, you should always come to the counselors or any staff or faculty to help you assist you with your academic success. So now we're going to be talking about the role of an outreach peer mentor. So at Outreach, we have a couple of peer mentors, and we're here to connect Promise students with academic programs, campus resources, student clubs, activities to support your needs and interests. We're here to answer questions regarding classes. What's it like being a community college student? We can also help you with a study session or helping you with planning out your classes. We also do organize campus events and promote interaction between students. So we have study sessions, we do campus tours. We also assist Promise students as they transition from high school to college, including managing their academic and social demands. So here at Promise, we'll have campus tours. We also have events such as having the clubs and the booths on campus. And also meeting with a mentor counts towards your Promise student engagement activity requirements.
Oops. Trying to click on the next one here. Okay, so my role here. So the role of a Promise counselor. I'm going to open up the chat. Oops, before I get to that, because I'm kind of went ahead of myself. Before I get to that, what do you think a counselor is there to help you out with? So let's go and open the chat and go ahead and put in, what you feel a counselor could help you out with in college. So again, the chat is on, it's live. So go ahead and go type in your inputs now. Figuring out your education and career goals, help with transferring academic plans, planning classes, transfer programs, career guidance, reassurance and guidance, transferring, scheduling plans, academic plans, help achieve your goals, academic plans, transferring help. So a lot of the same things, really about the planning of your classes, really helping you decide on a particular career or major, talk about, options when it comes to funding your education, like financial aid or scholarships, help you with the other resources that we have here on campus. And so all the stuff that you're mentioning on there, they're definitely correct and what we can do to support you. And so, high school counselors and college counselors are different. And high school counselors, what they do is they pretty much, here's your schedule, and these are the classes you need to do, and you're set. College counselors are there to provide you a plan And ultimately it's up to you what you decide to do for your classes. So for example, if in your plan there's a class that's in there that you don't want to do, you can choose a class that is more of interest to you. In addition, you create your schedule. So the counselors do not come up with your schedule, but really, they'll help you guide you through that process, and you decide what days and times you want to attend. If you want to do in person, if you want to go online, if you want to do a hybrid, which is a mix of both in person and online, whether you want to do online live, which is basically Zoom, as a class, but online. So those are some options that you can definitely exercise. So let's go and stop the chats for now. And let's move on to my parts. So we help you develop a plan to meet your academic goals. We help improve your college success skills and like time management and study skills. I know that with high school versus college, it's different. Many students have a tough transition because it does require a lot more time for college. And so one key thing that I do want to remind everybody here is for every unit you take, you should be spending a minimum of 2 hours each week of studying, reading, doing your assignments, and everything else for the class. So for example, for Promise, 12 units is the minimum requirement for being part of Promise. So you should spend a minimum of 24 hours outside of the classroom for all that homework and everything else associated with it. We provide counseling to assist students overcoming academic challenges like academic probation and disqualification. We will also, just like the mentors, we'll connect you with campus and community resources and programs. And we also the ones that facilitate the student success workshops. So we provide you tools and tips so that you can be successful in college. In the screen here is the class schedule. So there's two ways to get into the class schedule. One is through your My SDCCD portal. The other option is this link here. If you want to take a screenshot of this, this is the link to the fall class schedule. You can also Google search SDCCD class schedule as well, and the first link would be this. But essentially, this is where you look at classes, what's available, what's offered, and so on. And it's for all three campuses, Sayre, Mesa, and Miramar. Okay, just make sure that if you decide to choose classes at other campuses, the majority of your units will come from Miramar College. If that's a problem, please let us know and we can see what we can do to accommodate your needs. In terms of the enrollment steps, many of you have completed the first step. The first step was to apply to Miramar College. All of you should have a CSID, Campus Student ID number. Please remember to have that handy for you because you'll need that for all your email correspondence, whether it's through Promise, whether it's counseling, or any service that's available on campus. It's difficult to look you up with just by your name, so please provide your student ID number always when you're communicating with personnel. If you haven't already, go ahead and create your My SDCCD account. So for those who are able to register for classes, you already did this already. But for those who haven't, please make sure to create the account so you have access to register for classes, as well as other things within My CCD. And we'll cover this information during the Jumpstart event next week. Also, for those students who have not completed an orientation, this is the college orientation that you need to do. The college orientation is different from this Promise orientation, so please complete that. It takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to complete. It will go over information related to general education and all the requirements for college and so on. Once you complete that orientation, then you'll have access to meet with the counselor to develop your first semester classes. If you complete the orientation already, you're good to go. I would schedule a Promise appointment as early as mid-September to do your comprehensive educational plan. The fourth step is meet with the counselor to develop your plan. Again, many of you complete this already after orientation. Again, if you have not already, apply for financial aid, either the FAFSA application, or if you're a dreamer, you want to do the DREAM Act application. So either one of those applications will work for financial aid. It is required for Promise. So if you don't do this, unfortunately, you won't be able to be part of the program. So please make sure to do this as soon as possible if you haven't already. And the last step is register for classes under my.sdccd.edu website. If you need assistance, we have our mentors who are there to help you out in terms of how to register for classes. If you need help with what classes to take, that's where a counselor can help you with. And a counselor, I'm available next Monday. Do you know what time on Monday that I'm available, Chantal or Michaela? It's a drop-in. It's a virtual drop-in, and so if someone can go ahead and include that link, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'll add it.
Perfect. Thank you. I want to talk about our resources. There are several resources that you can take advantage on campus. These are the 4 that I'm going to focus on today. The Career Center, Transfer Center, DSPS, and ELPS. First off, I'm going to talk about the career services. And career services in this particular office, they help you with career exploration, whether it be through assessments, research, or other tools. Let's go say you're looking for a job or an internship. They also offer opportunities through the Handshake platform. Okay, I would encourage everyone to at least, try to get some experience, work experience or internship experience, because this will help you out in determining whether the career pathway is right for you. They also help with pre-employment assistance, which includes resume and cover letter critique, interview preparations and mock interviews, and they also host a career job fair once a semester. So definitely take advantage of the services. It's free. It's available to all students. So this is particularly great if you don't know what major or career you want to get into. The Career Services Office will help you out with that as well. Okay, the next service is the Transfer Center. I know many of you plan on transferring to the university. And so Transfer Center will help you out in guiding you to research and selecting a transfer institution, whether it be the University of California system, UC, or the California State University system, which is CSU. So they can definitely assist you on that. You definitely have access to university admission representative appointments. You also have transfer workshops that are available to you. They have a great nursing workshop. So if you're interested in being in the nursing field, they have that. They also have the transfer admission guaranteed programs, which means you're guaranteed admissions to the UC campuses. The only UC campuses that do not honor tag would be UCSD, UC Berkeley, UCLA, but it will be honored for the remaining UC schools like Irvine, Merced, San Bernardino, Santa Cruz, Irvine, Riverside, and Davis. We also offer a social duty for transfer programs that gives you priority admissions consideration for the CSUs. That also includes San Diego State and San Marcos locally. And we also host our University Transfer Fair as well. And the transfer fair is going to be in next month, September. And let me look real quick because I put it on my phone. September 28th from 10 to 1 p.m. in person at Compass Points. Okay, so if you're interested in the transfer fair, this is where all the colleges come on campus, both private and public universities. Again, Wednesday, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Campus Points. Okay, the next service here is DSPS, Disability Support Programs and Services. If you have an IEP in high school, definitely bring this over to the DSPS office. They can help you determine your eligibility and what accommodations are needed for the classroom. DSPS services do provide, appropriate academic accommodation based on your disability, provide test proctoring services, real-time caption services, consultation with professors, and provide learning study and academic success strategies. This is a great program. I myself, went to Miramar College. I was tested for learning disability myself, and I was able to receive services from DSPS, which helped me become successful in college. And so I think this is a great service, especially if you have an IEP or feel that you might have a learning disability. This might be a program for you. The other program that I also recommend is EOPS. EOPS, Extended Opportunity Programs and Services. This is really for students that are first-generation college students, students that are come from a low-income family, dreamer students, formerly incarcerated, foster youth. If you fall into those categories, you may qualify for ELPS services. In ELPS, they do offer priority registration, which means that you'll be one of the first groups to register for classes, so you get the most ideal schedule for yourself. They also provide academic, career, and personal counseling, transportation assistance, whether a parking permit or a bus pass, book and school supply account, supplemental grants, lighting library, whether it be textbooks or laptops, camping out for graduation, and of course their care and next up programs are for single parents as well as single parents receiving CalWorks, as well as our former foster youth. All this information, I know I'll cover a lot today. All this information will be covered at our JETS Jumpstart events on Wednesday, August 17th. All the programs and all faculty will be represented in that particular event. And again, I encourage you to sign up and be part of our fall kickoff. Now it comes to the Promise program, the thing that you've all been waiting for. The Promise program, it's every single California community college in the state has a Promise program. And basically, this is open to recent high school graduates that many of you are part of. We do have spaces. If you're not a high school student, you're in this call, we also offer spaces for those who identify as former foster youth, formerly incarcerated, adults returning to school, and DACA recipients. So again, we want to make sure that we provide a great service for you, but also know that your first 2 years of college for the tuition components and the health fees are taken care of by the program itself. In order to take advantage of that, you do have to enroll in full time, which is a minimum of 12 units each semester. So in the fall and the spring. Just to give you a heads up, summer is not included in the Promise program. The only way it Promise to cover summer is if you take 12 units or more, which I know counselors recommend doing that in the summertime, just to give you a heads up on that. If you do qualify for financial aid, particularly with the CCBGC grants, summer is taken care of through your financial aid. Okay. In addition to Promise, like I said, I was one of the counselors that started off in 2016 when it first started. We had about 40 students here at Miramar, but 186 district-wide. And we're now at, close to 6,600 students, one of the largest Promise programs in the state. So you're in a great place and great group of folks that are here to help you out today as well. Now, many of you might be confused. There's two different programs that are there, two different options for Promise. There's a California Promise Grants, and the California Promise Grant is for those who are eligible through financial aid. This is open to students with that financial need, and again, financial aid will determine that the criteria eligibility. There's no unit requirements for that. So let's go say you will be part-time. You can be part-time through the Promise grants. The Promise grant does take care of the enrollment fees, the tuition, which is about $552 if you take 12 units each semester. And this can be renewed year after year until you finish your educational goal, which is certificate, degree, or transfer to university. For the rest of you who don't qualify for financial aid, this is the San Diego Promise program. And this is open to eligible first-time college students. And this is, again, through the application process. All of you have applied to the program already. So many of you have been accepted and eligible to get your tuition fee as well as your health fees covered through Promise. You do need to enroll in full time. So 12 units is minimum. So typically that's about 4 classes. Is what you're looking at for the full-time load. If you are a financial aid student, you are going to receive additional $200 in book grants for both the fall as well as the spring. For the rest of you, everyone else is going to get mentoring and network opportunities as well as to start building your campus community. Okay, so those are the main differences between the Promise Grant and the Promise Program. When it comes to the Promise program, the great thing about the program is that students who enrolled in the program have a higher campus re-engagement. So they participate in tutoring, they participate in student engagement activities on campus. And so they're involved. Part of it is it's important to get involved on campus to build connections with folks. It sucks being alone and just going to class. And so if you can make those connections early on, you'll have a great time in college and feel supported. And so some of you might feel alone in college. It's important to connect. And so connect with people on this call, other Promise students, as well as with our staff, our mentors, as well as the counselors that we hear. Students who also are part of the Promise program attempt a full-time load, so they complete at least 24 units each semester, and the GPA average is above a 3.0, so it's a really good average on there. And of course, our Promise students persist to the next academic year for the second year Promise. Some of the benefits that I did talk about earlier was you get up to 2 years of free tuition and health fees. The reason why I say up to 2 years, because you got to meet the requirements for the first year in order to continue on with the second year. Okay, we'll cover those requirements in a bit. You receive on-campus support to help you complete educational goals, not just on campus, but also virtual support as well. So we're available via Zoom as well. Access to peer mentoring, counseling and guidance support to help you complete your educational goals. And of course, being part of this district, you have transfer priority to San Diego State University. With San Diego State, we do have tag agreements for certain majors for San Diego State. And again, tag is transfer admission guaranteed. And so as long as all your college coursework is done through our district, okay? Like I said earlier, Promise students who have applied for financial aid and are eligible for the California College Promise Grant will receive a $200 Promise book grant each semester. This is available at the bookstore now for those students that have this eligibility. If you believe you have that and not on the list, please contact our Promise office, SD Promise Miramar at sdccd.edu for more information related to that. Now the program requirements. So if you want to continue on to the second year, and so I know you're all in the first year, you need to make sure that you renew your FAFSA or GM application for the 2023-2024 school year. And you start doing those applications starting on October 1st. This is critical because your financial application that you applied for recently is only up to the summer of 2023. So you want to make sure that it continues on for the following second year. The second component that's required is that you need to enroll and successfully complete 12 units in both the fall and spring semesters. 12 units is going to be basically 4 classes. If you're having difficulties meeting that requirement, you do need to talk to a counselor immediately so that we can figure out your options ahead of time. The longer you wait, the less options you have available to you. Okay. You also need to maintain a 2.0 GPA. And again, if you feel that you're going to fall below that 2.0, please meet with the counselor so that we can discuss strategies and how to build that up and discover what options you have. And again, the longer you wait, the less options you have. You are required to submit a progress report each semester in both the fall and spring. The progress report gets released sometime by the 5th week of the semester, so that'll be sometime in early October. And so it's really checking to see how you're doing your classes. And if you're not, we need to provide some intervention so that you can do well, or provide you some additional options for you. And then the last component you'll need is to develop a comprehensive educational plan with the counselor by the end of the first year. We do not start doing this until mid-September. So please don't plan to do an appointment for this yet. Part of it is because you haven't experienced college yet as a full-time student. So we want to make sure that you experience it first so we determine the course load for the following semesters. One last quick note on this one here. You do need all Promise students must be enrolled in 12 units, minimum 12 units, by the add or drop deadline, which is September 2nd. If you do not enroll, this is not waitlist. If you're waitlisting classes, that means that you're not enrolled. So please look for an actual course that you can sign up for, because by September 2nd, if you don't have that, you will be dropped from the program and you will have to pay back the tuition and student health fees, which is about over $552. Okay, so that's something you have to pay out of pocket. So be sure to meet this requirement because we don't want you to be that student that has to pay. Okay. Now the payment process. Okay, sending a promise covers only the tuition and health fees when you and this will happen on your registration date and time. And so you might make sure you're enrolling all your classes in that one time. If you don't, there'll be a hold in your record that will prevent you from adding more classes. So please enroll all your classes when you register for it. For students who have signed the contract, the sending a promise contract, you can ignore the payment due notice, and the district will cover your payment in approximately 5 to 7 days from when you signed your contract. Okay. If you have not signed your promise contract, this is again through the online forms that you saw early on. Please do that as soon as possible, because without this, we can't pay for your tuition and health fees. If you need to pay for it because you might get dropped, you have the option to pay out of pocket and be reimbursed. And so this reimbursement will take about 4 weeks to get that back to you, and it'll go back to the original form of payment. So if you pay by credit card, it would automatically apply credit to that credit card or debit card. The fees that you are responsible for is going to be the $2 student representation fee. That's not covered by Promise. And then you're also responsible for the $40 parking permits, because parking permits are required on campus this fall. A lot of information here. So if you have not signed the Promise contract, please scan this QR code that's on there. If not, can somebody else from the staff can put the actual website address on here too? That'd be awesome for students. I'm going to double check on mine to make sure it's the right link, which it is. Perfect. Thanks, Neil. So that's the link that's on the chat is the link to the promise contract. If you have not signed it, please do so today. And again, it goes over all the stuff that we talked about earlier about the full-time status, about the progress report and student engagement activities. So please, get that signed so that you can get your fees taken care of. So time for a quick check-in. It's time for another poll. So who's gonna do this for me? Chantal, Michaela?
Yes, I'll launch it right now.
So how many units must promise students be enrolled in each semester? And your options are not that though. I'll launch it.
Yeah, somehow technical difficulty.
No worries. So is it 6 units? Is it 10 units? Or is it at least 12? We have overwhelmingly saying that it's at least 12 units. So as you're entering the information on here, the answer to this is, everyone except that one person said at least 12 units. And so you do need to enroll in at least 12 units, for the Promise program. For the one that answered the 6 units on there, you do need to enroll the 12 units if you are a DSPS student or have been approved for part-time status. That's another way of doing it as well. But we only have a handful of spots that are available for that track. And so for those who do qualify for DSPS service, the DSPS counselor does have to provide accommodations that you only enroll less than 12 units. Okay. And so that's pretty much it for that. Let me go into the next slide. As a Promise student, there's 3 things that you need to do. 1, you need to check your emails regularly. We send most of our Promise updates via email. Okay. We also send a lot of our updates also through our Promise Canvas site. So with that said, you do need to accept the San Diego Promise course invitation on Canvas. Again, this is how we communicate with all of you here. It's important that you do read those just because it will provide valuable information, but it's also opportunities to be engaged on campus. Also, to understand FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. What this basically means is that sometimes we have your parents that are contacting us. We cannot release any information other to the student themselves. This is to protect your information. So again, this is not high school. So now that you're all college students, regardless if you're 18 or not, because you're a college student, you are protected under this federal law. And so, if we cannot provide any information outside of you as a student, and if you want to waive that right, you do need to say explicitly, so that the parents are able to access that. But again, I don't recommend that. This is, again, you're now in college. Anything you need assistance out, we're here to help you out. Okay. A couple of deadlines that are there. And so September 2nd, again, the last day to add or drop classes for the fall semester. Okay, so that needs to be done by September 2nd. So if you're waitlisted, look for a class that you can get into. And so, because part of it is, if you don't get to 12 units, you will be dropped from Promise and we'll have to pay over $552 in fees to continue on in college. The last day, absolute last deadline is September 4th to be enrolled in 12 units. However, this is not for the 16-week courses. The 16-week courses, the last day is September 2nd, so be mindful of that. If you miss that September 2nd deadline, you can enroll in a 12 or 8-week course that will give you to the 12 if needed to be, but please don't wait. Please get that down before the September 2nd deadline. We have something called the satisfactory academic progress. This is particularly true for our students. And so in order to maintain satisfactory progress, you need to meet the minimum GPA, which is 2.0, like Promise. You also have to complete at least 67% of your units. So what does that mean? If you're taking 12 units, what's 67%? I'm gonna look right now, by the way, because I don't know off the top of my head. 12, 7% is 8 units. So out of the 12 units, you need to complete at least 8 of those units. So essentially, you only have option just to, not withdraw from one class essentially. So be sure to complete the units that you're actually enrolled in. The other reason why it's important as well, because if you have too many W's, that may impact your ability to transfer to university. And a W is a withdrawal, it's a late drop. So if you drop a class after the add drop deadline, it will turn into a W, which will impact your transcripts, just to give you a heads up. And also too, you need to complete your educational plan within the maximum time frame of 150%. What does that mean? It basically means that if you're going for transfer or you're getting a degree from us, that you need to complete your education within 90 units total. So that includes 90 attempted units, by the way. Okay, not completed. So that's for financial aid purposes, if you want to reach financial aid. In terms of the college itself, you need to complete at least 61% of your units, which is about close to 7.5 units complete. So all this means is complete your classes and do well. Scholarships. We know that college can be costly for students. So we do offer financial aid, but for those students that don't qualify for financial aid or need additional funds if they do qualify, so we have the scholarship option. These are free. These are you can apply for. The application period for scholarships usually begins in November and lasts through January or February. These scholarships are only open to Miramar College students. And so I would encourage you to check out the SD Miramar Scholarship website, and they'll give you more information related to scholarships. Again, the bulk of our scholarships won't be posted until November of this year. Okay. For those of you who are dreamers, you could potentially qualify for AB 540 to have in-state tuition, but also qualify for the promised grant enrollment waivers. You may also qualify for any other institutional grants that we have here on campus, state grants, the Cal grants, also the California Community College completion grants. And then for anybody that is foster youth may qualify for the Chafee grant that's under there as well. Okay. And the next slide goes to our outreach coordinator.
Thank you, Randy. And like we mentioned, if you attended today, if you could please fill out this attendance form. Neil just put it in the chat. Thank you, Neil. Or you can actually scan it as well on your phone. This will allow us to keep track of, who attended the orientations and make sure that we know who received the information today. Randy went over a lot of, great information on, the requirements, on the benefits, on about the program itself. So we hope that we did get to, answer some of the questions that you may have had throughout. But we will be moving on after this to a little bit of information on some upcoming events, some of our contact information in the Q&A. But I did want to give you all some time to fill this out. Again, this allows us to keep track of who was here today. So it's still in the chat, so feel free to click on that and fill that out as well. But I did want to move on to the next slide, so that we can talk about our Jets Jumpstart event. So I know we were talking about it in the beginning of the presentation, and this is actually already next week. It's next Wednesday, and it's going to be at the Library Learning Resource Center. If you actually, go and look into our event page, you can also take a look as to where exactly it is. We will be providing an email with a little bit more information to all of the students that do RSVP. So if it is that you haven't been on campus before or not familiar at all with any of the buildings, we will be providing an email, follow-up email to those that RSVP. But like we were mentioning, you will have an opportunity to attend a resource fair. So all of the resources that we were talking about, we're going to have tabling there. You're going to meet representatives from the resource fair. We also will be talking about online services. We are coming back to in person, but there's still online services that you have access to, whether you're taking online or in person. There's a lot still there, and we will be also providing you some tips as to, being an online student, what does that mean? We will also be, talking about career exploration. So if it is that you know or you're unsure, this allows you to connect directly with the office that are the experts in this, with our career center. So you'll be able to actually, interact, have an activity in order to explore that. And you also will have the opportunity to take a campus tour. Again, if you haven't seen our campus, haven't set foot on our campus before, it is beautiful. But we'll have tour guides there as well. And during lunch, you will be actually interacting, have that opportunity to interact with, professors that might be in your program or a program that you might, be interested in entering. So we'll provide the lunch, we'll provide swag bags. So overall, it's going to be a really fun time. I'm really excited. You'll actually, get to meet us in person as well. We'll be walking around throughout the day, but this is open to new and returning students. So again, if it is that, you know people that don't know about this event, spread the word. We still are accepting RSVPs. And again, it's next Wednesday, August 17th, 9 to 1 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we can't wait to see you all there. Next slide, please. And Randy did add more information in the chat as well about that event. So we're really excited. So hopefully you all sign up for that. So our contact information, just to review. So we have our email. We also have our Instagram. So please make sure that when you are sending emails, you are providing us your name and your college ID. That helps, speed up the process. If it is that, there's any information that's missing, it's just a little bit more of a delay. So it allows us to help you a little bit quicker. Next slide. Again, this is our Instagram. We provide updates on activities, events that we have going on. So please make sure that you check that out. All right, so we will be now moving on to the chat, and we will be also stopping the recording as well if it hasn't already.